Hey everyone, welcome to the Road to Dracula Visions Artist Spotlight. I'm joined by Mr. Sam Noir. How you doing, Sam?
Good. Excellent. Very excited to be chatting with Mike today.
Awesome. So today's artist is a cover artist for IDW Comics, Archie Comics, Image Comics, Aftershock Comics, Dark Horse Comics, Ablaze, Chapter House Books, and is the co-creator of Dodge. Forged on the anvil of Crom himself. Welcome, Mr. Mike Rooth. How are you?
Good, guys. The lovely intro. I appreciate it.
All true, every word.
And the mightiest beard in comics.
Oh, well.
Oh, yes.
Might have been one at one time.
So we're going to do a little bit of spotlight. Again, this is the Road to Dracula Visions. So on a weekly basis, we're just going to do a little bit of a spotlight on some of the artists that are going to be on the book. So Mr. Rooth, you're up first. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a retrospect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a few art pieces on the side here. Hope you could see all that. I had to use this one.
Sure.
The Weaponizer. I remember, I think we met at a Comic-Con and you had this as your sort of back poster.
Yeah.
And that drew me right into our first conversation, I think. And then we hit it off. We started talking about Conan and all sorts of, I think, what else we talked about all sorts of stuff. And then it was just like,
Yeah, that banner turned a lot of heads, I think, for sure. It was, and
sure.
I used that for years and years and years. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. That was one of those pieces where the image came to mind, and I just knew immediately, like, it's one of those things that actually ended up being exactly what I envisioned in my head, without really veering away from going down any random trails. It kind of just appeared in my head, and I drew it, and it was one of those rare instances where that happened. But it was for some friends of mine who had a magazine in the UK. The one and only magazine they released, Weaponizer, with people from the Whitechapel Forum that I used to be, much closer with in those days. And the logo was actually created by the great Paul Sizer.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a fun piece.
So you did all the covers then?
I technically did all the covers for that one. Yeah.
It's great though. It's very heavy metal-esque, I'll call it.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely pulling from all that kind of stuff that I loved when I was younger. That piece was special to me too, because I had the original with me when I traveled to Montreal the first time I met Simon Bisley, and it was one of those instances where, like, he and I were drinking wine all night, and he picked up the piece out of my portfolio and was like, "Oh!" And he was really impressed, and it was a cool thing for, like, 17-year-old Mike in my head was screaming, Bisley was looking at my work and enjoying it. So that was a pretty cool thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Gotta love Beasley.
Oh yeah, he's the best. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was a fun piece.
Very cool.
Oh yeah.
So I got a few other ones on here. I thought I'd do a bit of a review to see what just so to see if people get a sort of a taste of what your style is, because you have a very distinct style, right?
Oh, this is one of your favorite characters too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my very favorite character. It's actually the best rendition I've ever done of him as well. I draw him a lot. For many years, Ben Grimm was sort of like my white whale. I never really would get him quite right, or I'd never kind of get it close. He'd always come out too sinister looking, or just not the right spirit. And over the years, the Thing's always been my favorite guy since I was a little kid, and he's just kind of always been there for me in that way. And so this was done for a friend of mine, another guy from the Whitechapel Forum, actually, Mr. Rowley in Toronto, who specifically requested Ben Grimm of this size with a Roytan cigar. So
nice.
Roytan cigar. It was just another one of those instances where it just kind of, from the sketch, I just knew exactly how I was gonna light it, how it was gonna come together, and I really enjoyed that piece. It was fun.
Which creators do you draw upon to create your ideal thing?
That's a tricky one. Obviously, it's hard to avoid some of the Kirby stuff. But for me, I guess Ron Wilson's probably my favorite Thing artist, because I love the Thing series so much as a kid. The
Thing solo series.
Yeah, I like the Secret
awesome.
Wars stuff and the stuff prior to Secret Wars and the Secret Wars run, and then the after Secret Wars stuff. It was like 34 or 36 issues, I think. I loved every issue of it. And
Rocky Grimm Space Ranger or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that stuff. And it was a cool time when the Thing could transform back and forth to Ben Grimm, which was like the only time in his life where he's even able to do that. And it just made for a different kind of experience as a Thing reader. He wasn't as sad. He was a little more free, even though that part of the world wasn't actually true. It was all fictionalized by the Beyonder. But anyway, blah, blah, blah.
That's all good. So speaking of the Thing, I also love this piece here. Such a great piece.
That was done for the Thing art book, which was to celebrate the 35th anniversary of that movie. I can't think of the name of the publisher now; it's killing me. But Steve, I'm terrible. Anyway, it was a massive book full of tons of artists. Ben Templesmith was in there, and pretty much everyone I know who was asked to be a part of it submitted artwork. And it's just a gorgeous book. It was like enormous, big, huge, hardcover tome of a book. And I've got one on my shelf. Awesome.
And you're a big John Carpenter fan.
I wouldn't say that so much, but this movie, I remember seeing it when I was young, and it's just kind of always been my favorite horror movie, because it's not the typical kind of horror movie. It's a little bit different.
It's all about the suspense and the mood that builds and the paranoia.
Yeah, and it's like Kurt Russell, just a cool, likable lead man, and Keith David's amazing in that movie, and Wilford Brimley, and the whole mix of them are just great. And I love the setting. I love that northern, far remote kind of thing, and it was just a lot of fun to work on that piece and just try to do something different. We were given full interpretive, freedom to do whatever we want. So
awesome, like Dracula Visions.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sure.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna drop. I pulled a whole bunch of sort of my favorite Mike Rooth pieces, but we could just sort of go through a few and then maybe chat a few. You're probably familiar with this guy. Mr. Swamp Thing.
I draw Swamp Thing a lot. He shows up when I need him, kind of thing. Yeah.
Characters with Thing in their names is a common theme.
That's right. I probably did it in alphabetical order. No. This is one of my favorite ones for obvious reasons. I'm a huge Conan fan, but this must have been a fun one for you, Mike.
It was fun, and it was a huge career moment for me. It was done for the 1811 comic store just outside of Buffalo. My friend Howard Cadmus, contacted me to do a variant cover for his store. And the only problem was I didn't have a ton of time to do it. I think by the time I was able to, because I was committed on some other projects, and by the time I was given the green light, I had something like 36 hours to turn the around. And they wanted me to do kind of that classic Earl Norham style kind of approach, and I would never be pretend to be Earl Norham, but I wanted to try to pull from that kind of a feeling for his Conan stuff.
The iconic savage sort of Conan artist.
I mean, I think he's a super underrated guy, to be honest with you. He doesn't get the credit that like guys like Frazetta and other guys have, for sure. But I think Norham had a fairly definitive Conan, and I think he handled that world very well. And so the only difference was, instead of having the damsel in distress, because his piece always has, his covers always had some kind of lady in trouble, I wanted it to show that it was actually Red Sonja here who was actually leading the charge, and she's given the flying knee to the zombie, Yeah.
Go in and need her.
Now, just in talking about covers, is it safe to say, I know you got your start with Scholastic, cutting your teeth on working on the various kids' books and graphic novels, but is it safe to say that your career really took off as a cover artist?
Well, it's what I wanted to do. It's actually what I wanted to do since I was a kid. It was like I wanted to do covers for like fantasy novels, like D&D books and Dragonlance books and Conan books, and I wanted to be that guy. And so that's my education was as an illustrator, and sequential art is a whole other application of brain meat to make artwork. And so covers were always what I wanted to do, but getting cover gigs in comics, it's rare when someone can just walk in off the street as a nobody and get cover gigs. So most of my cover opportunities began through stores like Carlos Gotham Central and his A Variants program and Hip Hop Comics and and then on to Aftershock and some of the affiliates down in the States that do Aftershock covers and things like that. It kind of grew from there. But covers are all I really want to do. I love making comics, don't get me wrong, and I'm enjoying the hell out of working on Dodge, but I see covers just so clearly. It's like, a cover only has one problem to solve. You have to sell the book, whereas an interior page might have 150 problems that you have to solve just to make it work to get to the next page. And I think with comics, there's so many different ways you can approach a thing that I kind of get tangled up in the I kind of get tangled up in the trees instead of the forest, so to speak. But yeah, I really love doing covers, especially getting to do stuff like working on properties like this Turtles book or like the Last Ronin cover. I mean, that's just a massive thing.
Yeah. But each of them tell the story as it is as well.
Well, this one kind of got me some heat from Turtles fans because I didn't have any kind of artistic direction on this one. I was told to just kind of come up with 3 ideas, and they approved all 3 ideas, but this is the one that I like the best because I wanted it to have a bit of a Canadian feel. And also drawing Dodge, I wanted to, which is about a werebear, I wanted to kind of, almost virally infect this piece with Dodge a little bit, by putting a werebear, some kind of bear monster onto the cover. But I got some heat from the Turtles fans who told me that I ruined their childhood because of the fact that Jenica's a lady turtle. And then I had people questioning who the bear was, and they were saying, oh, as if there's a bear guy that could take on all 4 turtles, and as if Jenica would be the last one left. And this kind of silly kind of content that I had to contend with when the cover launched. But it was fun. Everyone's got their own take on everyone holds their own mythos around a property or a character, so they can have those feelings if they want. But
and that's less about
anyone's childhood. I just wanted to draw a picture.
And that's less about you and more about them.
I would think so, yeah.
I think, you bring the art to the table, you rock it now. We know Conan and let's say Swamp Thing are some of your top dream jobs. Sure. What have been some of your career highlights in terms of the covers? Do you have any favorite covers in particular, or favorite characters
that cover?
You've drawn?
Well, that cover right there, that die cover, that was one of my favorite ones from 2019. I believe that was early 2019. And that was a chance to do a cover with, for Kieran Gillen's book, and Stephanie Hahn's doing the artwork, of course. And I love the design of that die series. I love Dungeons and Dragons, so I love that it's a tribute to that. And so getting to draw a cover like that was a lot of fun. And I particularly love that actual cover that's there. That was a big highlight for me too, because that book was gigantic, and getting a chance to work with Kieran again and actually to talk with him about the project and what he would like was really, really cool for me. Obviously the Turtle stuff and everything I've done with Big Country Comics has been amazing. The opportunities that those guys have created for me. The Sumerian being the Conan stuff from Ablaze Publishing, that's reprinted from the Glenat in France material, which is just wonderful. It's been translated to English and it's printed in the USA. And it's that was a huge thrill, being able to do issues 1 and 2 of Red Nails, and to collaborate with Hugh Rookwood on issue 2 to create a mirrored bookend. Right. Piece was really fun. And Big Country's done awesome stuff for me. The D&D book, that was, they wanted a wraparound cover, and I wanted to give it that kind of the longbow hunters feel, you know what I mean? Like that Mike Grell kind of design feel with the little separated windows and things breaking the windows. And didn't know anything about the characters. My heroes of Icewind Dale and at the Spine of the World were a different set of heroes.
Right.
So it's cool to read about new characters and, yeah, it's just been awesome. So that was, getting my name attached to a D&D thing that's always super fun. But the big highlight would probably be the Last Ronin, being the biggest.
Sure, I have this one in here somewhere.
So even over you're getting the Conan gig, the Last Ronin would be your highlight over your dream gig on Conan.
Yeah, weirdly enough, because it's certainly up there. They're certainly at the top of the mountain. But there's something about The Last Ronin was special because whether I dreamed it or whether I read about it in a fanzine as a youngster, but I remember hearing about this story about the last surviving turtle way back when.
Mm-hmm.
A story that was originally going to be set in 2017, and then turtles became the gigantic commercial monster that it became, and the films and video games and toys and cartoons and everything afterwards. But I was a fan of the comics before it became all that, so being able to return to the original roots and to do a cover that was reminiscent of the first 4 turtle issues, and involving the original characters, and just the story is wonderful. It's also the return of Eastman and Laird as a writing duo on this property that saw their friendship sort of divide for about 25 or 30 years after it all went crazy and huge, right? Mm-hmm. So being able to be a part of something that they have reunited on was a really cool thing. And I'll always be grateful for Justin and Stefan and the guys at and Leanne at Big Country Comics for this opportunity. Super, super cool.
Now, has doing sequential art on Dodge affected the way you approach art at all?
Yeah, I think so. I've been doing a lot of wraparound covers, which gives me more room to tell a story with one picture. So it's certainly tapping into some of my drawing small and tiny bits of composition here and there that with a big focal point and all the things you think about when you're doing a page. And also I've been penciling Dodge with my iPad the past couple of years, doing my pencils and then printing them out and inking the blue line on board. And being able to work digitally has been a real big step for me, a real strange journey. I still feel like it's basically a $2,000 notepad at this point. But I don't really know what its potential is, but I'm loving it for penciling comics and making those adjustments without having to redraw a whole page or lose a day to just giving up and starting over again on a page. I can kind of harvest bits, and I can use some things, because ultimately it's just for the plotting and the layout of the book. I'm still doing everything by hand, so it's kind of speeding up the process in some ways, and so that is changing how I think about covers a little bit too. My covers are getting a little more designy this year, and so that's been fun to explore different compositions.
Very cool. So we could probably talk all night.
Speed round. Let's go to the speed round.
We want to go to let's go to the speed round. So
sure.
I got a few little goofy questions for you, Mike. Right. So the first set we're gonna fire them off really quick. First set are just sort of this or that type question. So you choose. All right. So speed round number 1, rapid fire. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Invisibility or flight?
Invisibility.
All right. Cat or dog?
Cat.
Pop music or rock music?
Pop or rock?
Pop or rock?
Rock.
Rock. All right. This is a tough one. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes. Easy one.
Oh, day or night?
The nighttime is the right time.
Text message or call?
Text message.
Library or museum?
Museum.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Love or money?
Love. Always.
Book or movie?
You know what? I'm going to say movie.
Chocolate or vanilla?
I'm a vanilla guy. I'm not going to lie.
All right. Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Hamburgers.
These are the important questions. Painting or drawing?
Drawing.
Lions or bears?
Bears.
Fire or ice?
Ice.
Ice. Okay. I thought he would be a fire guy. Money or fame?
Money or fame? I guess money. Yeah.
Alaska or Hawaii?
Never been to Alaska, but I love Hawaii, so I'm going to say Hawaii.
Nice. The mountains or the beach?
The beach.
Online shopping or in-person shopping?
Well, if you asked me a year ago, it would have been a different answer. But
you might have been tarnished a little.
Yeah.
All right, last one for the rapid fires. Wild animals or domestic animals?
Wild animals or domestic animals? Well, I have domestic animals in my home, but there's nothing as awesome as seeing a fox in the wild, so I'm going to say wild.
Nice. Okay. I got 5 real quick would you rathers. All right. So think hard on these. These are important.
All right.
If you were reborn in a new life, would you rather be alive in the past or in the future?
The past.
The past. Okay. Would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
The first one, I guess.
All right. I like this one. Would you rather look 10 years older from the neck up or from the neck down?
It won't make much. I'm going to say neck down. Yeah.
Does that include the beard?
Oh, that's true. Just from here down is white. Would you rather experience the beginning of the planet Earth or the end of the planet Earth?
We're experiencing the end, aren't we? I would say the beginning. I would say
you just want anything but this. Is what I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, this is an interesting one too. Would you rather reverse one decision you make every day, or be able to stop time for 10 seconds every day?
That's tough. Stopping time. I feel like there could be consequences there, but. I would go with stopping time. Yeah.
Stopping time. Okay. And the last question, what is your favorite version of Dracula?
That's a really good question.
And this can encompass whatever media. Yeah. Books,
honestly,
movies, video games.
It's funny. I have this book which I have had since I was a little kid. I don't remember where it came from. It's called In Search of Dracula, and it's an old kind of history book about Dracula and, different things about Dracula. This has been in my parents' house for a million years, and I loved it as a kid because it's got photographs of Dracula's castle, but it's also got just cool historical stuff like the wood cuts of where am I here? Like Vlad Tepes and this kind of stuff, So in many ways, my definitive Dracula have come from the different versions discussed in this book. But my actual definitive Dracula actually isn't Dracula at all. In theory, it's actually Count Orlok, who was the star, of course, of Nosferatu. Wow. And the thing about that is Nosferatu was just going to be a Dracula movie. But of course, the film director, got sued by the wife of Bram Stoker, and she stopped all that. So he still was able to make it the same story. They just changed the character's name. So Count Orlok is my definitive Dracula. I think in a lot of ways, other than of course, like the Bela Lugosi kind of stuff. I don't think I ever saw any of the Christopher Lee Draculas. Believe it or not, I never saw any of them. Or any of those classic ones. I haven't seen any of this stuff. So all the stuff we've been sharing. Yeah, I know. It's funny. I actually can't believe I haven't seen that stuff, but I haven't seen that stuff at all. So it's really weird, actually. But I think probably Count Chocula, somewhere between Count Chocula and the Count from
Wow. You're setting the bar. You're setting the bar.
Yeah.
Count Chocula.
And you know, if Dracula showed up on Scooby-Doo, then that probably had some kind of an impact, or like maybe the Three Stooges meet Dracula, or Abbott and Costello. I know that I have old childhood memories of the idea of Dracula, but I think for me, it's really just a coalition of all these different influences, and they're all cool. Like the Vlad Tepes version, like the Hungarian kind of like mad prince with the people who are skewered on posts and stuff, like that's all ties in with this greater, larger mythology. So yeah, mine is really a mishmash of all that stuff.
Wow.
You have my respect based on Count
Yes.
Chocula. I agree.
Yes. Well done. Well
He
done.
was my favorite monster cereal.
I was a blueberry guy. But...
Ooh, oh, that could be a next one. Chocula, Count Chocula or blueberry. All right, look out, next person that's on. All right, so we're going to continue this series almost on a weekly basis, with the exception of when we have Sketchelmania. So we're looking forward to the next one. And thank you so much, Mike. We cannot wait. I know, and I'm speaking for Sam as well here. We cannot wait to see your version of art that's going to go into Dracula Visions, and I'm so happy that you're part of this project.
Oh, you're awesome, bro.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be a part of it, guys. Thanks so much for having me. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I have some glimmering images of what I'm actually going to do, but I'm glad I have a little bit of time to digest them because, it's I like to be surprised too sometimes. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. All right. And thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Martin.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Be good, guys. See you later.
Until next time.